hope we can pick up some of you people over there in England. And guess I'm really popular in England and Scotland and stuff on the Greenwich. Anyway, we want to go through some really important information. It's been working with a life coach and talking about, what do I need to do to get going, get stuff going. And I think a good place to start really is this Myers-Briggs test right here. Myers-Briggs, look it up. It's about 70 questions, 72. Are you an introvert? Do you get energy by yourself, or you get energy being around other people? An extrovert. Or are you creative or intuitive? I don't know why they use in the N on this, but intuitive. I guess they didn't want to have two I's. Intuitive. Or are you more sensible? Are you a person that likes the rules, like a police officer? They love the rules. They get mad when people don't follow the rules. Whereas the creative person wants to improve the rules. They want to make the rules. And the next one would be feeling or thinking. Whereas the feeling people, they'll cry at a movie, and whereas a thinking person won't. And they'll be kind of like jealous of the people that are more feeling oriented. And the people that are feeling embarrassed because they're crying in the movie. It's interesting. And the last one here is judging or perceiving. Judging people, they like to just make a quick decision and get it over with. Whereas perceiving people like to shop around and then make a decision. They'll see something they want, but they'll go shop through the mall and then they come back and buy that shirt, whatever. And they'll try on different sizes, all that kind of stuff. But they want to be really sure about what they're buying. Whereas a judging person likes to just learn to live with it. Well, anyway, this test really helps you to see what you should do with it as a career. Like mine comes out ENFP, which said I should be like a journalist or storyteller, a messenger, someone who could write stories out and be really good at just storytelling. And I've always loved storytelling. And so you could be like a good an attorney, they just tell a story before a jury. You have to put it all in a timeline, what happened in the beginning, in the middle, and the end, and that kind of thing. And said that basically said ENFP is like a champion, which I thought was really cool, or a good motivator. We have a hard time motivating ourselves. I'm always having a line of fire to myself. I'm always having to ask myself, well, why am I doing this? And then once you really know what you are, your talent, your DNA, it helps. This also helps you to understand why other people are the way they are. Like people that are INTJ came out as like a field marshal, someone who likes to make quick decisions. They're more thinking. They don't go by feelings, and they just quick decisions. Some would say that Donald Trump is like an ENTJ, someone who's likes to make decisions and wants to do what's right. Don't want to get caught up in feelings. And that's a good quality to have, is to be able to think things through instead of going by feelings. And then the next thing is looking at, well, what is your biggest burdens? What is your why? We'll go through this. And what is your why? I'm going to have to flip this over because we're doing a vertical video. And I found this book. It's by a guy named Simon Sinek. He talks about finding your why. And he has why here. And he has how can I get this done? Like, why am I here? What is, why do I care about something? How am I going to get it done? And then what can I do? What can I produce that the world needs? And it's similar to another circle thing I saw was by a guy named Patrick Carnes, who was a coach and therapist for people in recovery. He worked a lot with people with sex addiction problems, and he talked about and just worked with a lot with gambling and alcohol, drugs, of the behavior. It's so funny how this, and then the addictions that you want to avoid, and then here's the outer circle of like, what's kind of risky behavior, but it's not really bad. Like you're out cruising around, or maybe you're looking at Instagram or something not so bad. And then the outer circle would be the healthy behavior, like, calling people, meetings, get a sponsor, get a coach, have a counselor or coach or something. I think more and more coaches are going to be doing work with people that have like gambling addictions, like sex addiction, porn, and illicit affairs, because there's a lot at stake here for people. They need someone they can talk to. They want to you need to go to meetings or whatever and get a sponsor, but they need to have some professional experience help. And it's so funny how this came out, and then this other one came out like, here's the good thing, and here's the bad. Here's like what's, and kind of blew me away how that happened. And it kind of ties in with, I read a lot. I'm a big reader. I'm not phenomenal, but I just love reading. We talk about our biggest quest, our biggest, desire to help people. What is our burden for others? Why? We can put that here, burden. And what happens though is we are a victim of resistance. Like we want to help, but we're kind of like, I don't know. And this guy named David Allen wrote this book called Getting Things Done. And he kind of related it to martial arts. To getting things done is you have to learn to just do stuff instantly. Like he was breaking blocks. And he, you have to believe that you can do it. Well, it's almost karate that wood isn't, the grain is with you, so you're cutting, through wood that anyone can break through. It's like balsa wood, but still, it's a matter of focus. This is the new superpower: is being able to focus and just believing that we can do it. My handwriting, believing, sorry. It'll be edited out later. It's a live video. Feel free to comment if you want to say anything. What am I talking about? Hello. Yeah. Well, just hang around and we'll make some more for you. You can watch the video again later because I'm going to be covering a lot of topics here really quickly. But he talked about David Allen in the book Getting Things Done. It's one of the best books you'll read. It's kind of like he's one of the fathers of the whole motivation and the industry of motivation and coaching. David Allen, look him up. When he talks about resistance, there's another book called The War of Art. It talks about our battle with resistance to help others. And he talks about karate. And one thing he didn't bring up is I took, just being able to capture your ideas on paper, capturing your ideas. You learn to get all of your interests, all this stuff, and you just funnel it down to come out. What do you really want to do? What's your interest? You have to learn to believe and you capture. And then on that, top of that, you want to put everything in a category or just organize your ideas and then review. And then you also want to have an action deadline list. So this is a lot of stuff in a nutshell. Sorry if it seems like I'm going to be going through a lot of stuff really quickly. You want to be able to organize your thoughts and review it, and then review it weekly, he recommends, and then take actions. So you can take your burdens and your quests, whatever, and just develop a stepping stone kind of thing. But one thing he didn't talk about, David Allen, he talked about karate, about being able to react. Okay, if you get things out of your mind, you get it on paper, then you can, when something comes up, some new thought, you can react. You're not like, oh, wait, I got stuff to do. You can react to it. We're victims of resistance. And we have a struggle to help others because we're kind of we have self-preservation. We're selfish, but we're also self-preserving. And one thing I was thinking about when you talked about karate is that when I got karate, they taught you to do a block and then punch. It's always the block and then punch, or you block down, you punch, you block this like this. This is actually a lot better movement where you're doing a decoy punch. You see a lot of boxers when they box, they'll do a fake jab and then go with a real punch, where they're trying to they're kind of trying to overcome the resistance. So you got to learn to overcome your resistance, and then you go in with your punch. You got to be able to do that. So you have to look at also if there's trauma that you've experienced. A lot of times people don't even realize it. They have a lot of trauma. Let me see what my camera is. Thank you, Aubrey. They have trauma from their childhood. There's actually a group, I recommend this for anyone, it's adult children of alcoholics They talk a lot about trauma, and what it usually manifests itself as is isolation. Because we've been traumatized, we isolate. We don't want to deal with. We had this big, huge adult that was huge over us that traumatized us. So we isolate instead of talking to somebody. Well, people will get into gossip. They'll talk to everyone else but the person that they're needing to talk to, they're upset with. And then they'll what else? I don't know. There's a lot to that, but simply, I want to keep this kind of simple. Talking, recovery gets help. Talking uncovers the wounds. And we talked about this already, but I'll say it again. But capturing your thoughts, your ideas, and let's go over here. Yeah, man, I'm covering a lot of ground here. Sorry if that's a lot too quickly. Capture your ideas, both positive and negative. Like write out, like one thing they do in the 12-step movement is they have a thing called an inventory where you write out someone that you're resentful against, someone that resentments. We write it out. You write it out, and you ask, how did it affect you? What ways did this affect you? And I would say the number one thing I found, my own experience, is people that harmed you is low self-esteem, low self-image. Like say you had a parent that was really mean to you, or a parent that ignored you, was not there for you. You have like issues, you have. Sorry, I gotta get this over here. We're live. Feel free to leave any comments, anybody? Wow, yeah. Okay. So we do our inventory. We cover. Yeah, this is getting like a lot of information here. I have to redo this and do it smaller. And I just did this Y, like a big Y, because I felt like it needed to be like almost like a fortress. Why am I here? Like you create this fortress that even when people don't respond, it's just bounced right off you. Your sense of mission is greater because you have this strong sense of why am I here? Take for example, Mother Teresa. She said, give all you can to others. It won't be enough, but give all you have anyway. And all this and that. She talked about a bunch of other ones. But she says, in the end, it really was never about you and them anyway. It was between you and God. Like your sense of mission, the why was, why does God have me here? So, like, why are you here, man? Why are you? It sounds really negative, but why does God have you here? What is your higher calling? So when you have a strong sense of why, say it was family, and say you have God in family, then you have a stronger sense of why. You have more, living your life to glorify God and not yourself. I heard a gal named Cody Sanchez say something very similar to this. that God is like a big, like, it's just like a big G. God, why am I here? So I don't want to sound like I'm, preaching, but something to really meditate on and to ask, just listen, ask God, why am I here? What am I doing with my life? Who am I going to help? What, what do you want? What do you want me to know about you? Whether it's reading the Bible or being with other people to help them out, or just focusing on being a doer and not just someone who's passively watching, try and figure out a way what is holding you back. So here I'm going to pull this over here again just for a second. So we talked about a lot of stuff today. Why the why circle of why am I here and how am I going to do that? What are my skills? What can I produce? And our resistance, our addictions, and how can I overcome that? And we talked about your personality temperament, which is really related to what it is you're skilled at and what's your biggest build. It's good to kind of do a mind map like this where you kind of can look at a way to build it. Maybe use those sticky notes and make a thing for a wall for just like a vision wall. And what is your resistance? Writing out, capturing your thoughts, learning to just brain dump everything. Don't let stuff sit in your brain, even like negative emotions. A lot of times people don't want to talk about their negative thoughts because they don't want to be rejected by other people. And yeah, people get tired of hearing about something you sound like a broken record. So it's really important to get those negative thoughts out and deal with them and do like a inventory, like it talks about in the 12 steps. So doing a 4-step inventory, write out your resentments, how they affected you, low self-esteem issues. Because if people have low self-esteem, what do? They just do things that make them feel bad about themselves. But if they've dealt with all this stuff and they have high self-esteem, I just wonder, high self-esteem. I'm going to put a heart around that. They do things that make them feel about themselves. One thing I was going to say about mind mapping here is like a burden. Like, how am I going to earn this quest? How am I going to do this? And you have to look at, well, what is maybe another for mind map, what is my block? What is my resistance? You can make like little graphic things to talk about what is the wall that I need to get through. Or sometimes it's even good just to have like a checkbox. Like, I've done this. You got this thing you have to get through. Trauma. Yeah, also just comes out in a lot of ways where we isolate. And it's just good to see. Yeah, a lot of it is just like a broken record. People talk about stuff over and over again. there's some more stuff I want to cover, but that'll have to be on the next video. I don't want to wear you guys out. Anyway, hope that's a good session for you guys. We'll talk to you in a bit.